What's going on, bro?
Hey, how you feeling, Swan?
Man, good, man. So we are doing a little test run here for tomorrow's show. Kind of like want to make sure we get everything kind of like in order. Tomorrow is the big day. Kind of like get everything started. This is something I feel like has been on our minds pretty much for a while, and we kind of like decided to jump out the box.
There we go. It's the only
So
way to do it.
the test run. If you haven't followed us on our page, the links are below. Um, First of all, drop a comment or a message if you can hear us. If you can hear us clearly, if you can see us clearly, just drop a message because we are going to be streaming on two different platforms. We got the YouTube account that we're going to be streaming from, and also we're going to be streaming here on Facebook Live as well. So if you already haven't followed us on that page, follow us at Final Notice Podcast on Facebook, and then follow us on Final Notice Podcast on YouTube as well. So we're kind of like doing test runs, to get things started for tomorrow. So chime in, brother. What's going on?
Nah, I'm good, bro. I'm just excited, man. I'm excited to, just to get these messages out, bro. That's been in our heart, my mind, my spirit, my soul. And I'm just ready to just pour it out, bro.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that, man. Um, shoot. There is a third member, but he will not be available tomorrow. He has some other prior engagements to the actual start dinner. I think that was on my end when I came up with the dates for us to be able to go live with it. I didn't really check in with him on that aspect, and I dropped the ball on that one, so I can admit to that I was wrong on that part. So he won't be with us tomorrow, but we will have another introduction to where we finally introduce onto the platform as well with us. But other than that, man, it's just going to be a good time. It's going to be a good conversation. I feel like it's going to be a space for Black men to really have a safe, not a safe zone, but a platform where we can talk, we can have conversations. We can definitely have conversations about different topics. So that's pretty much what it is, man. It's a no boundaries kind of like a podcast. At least that's what that's what we decided to go with. We don't want to have any boundaries on it or whatsoever, right?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay, so we're just doing a test run, y'all. So if you come on here and if you haven't already followed us, um, definitely follow us on all of our platforms. What we're going to be talking about tomorrow is pretty much an intro to who I am. My boy is going to introduce himself as well, as to who he is. I'm going to tell you what my passion are behind what we're doing, and he's also going to share his passion as well. So that way you see that we all are aligned together as far as what we're trying to get accomplished and what the whole mission is for, or the whole podcast is for. It's going to be for some people. It's not going to be for everybody. So, if it's not for you, we totally understand. We're gonna stay in our lane. And I'm sure if it's something that is falls in your lane, then I guess you're gonna be tuning in. But we are definitely gonna have some interesting conversation, interesting topics. Um,
Definitely. Definitely.
so we're definitely gonna be able to have some uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah, I'm just trying to hold it in, man. I ain't saying too much because, once I get going, I'm gone, man.
Hey
So,
man, that's what it is, man.
we just do this test. We're going to run through it
So
and
we're
we're going
doing
to
the
go from
test.
there, man.
So if you come in, if it's something that you want to talk about, if it's something that you want to know a little bit more details about, because we're going to have some great guests on here coming up in a few episodes that we already have lined up. We do have some couple of people that we're going to be talking to that is going to be very, very important to a lot of people in the community. So we definitely have some guests that's going to be coming on. So if you have a question of any of the guests that come on, you can always leave us a message in our Facebook's page or in the YouTube comments. We can definitely go from there.
Make sure y'all pay attention to the private chat.
What happened?
I was fooling around with the stuff.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
That's right.
I see there's stuff little popping up there, you know what I'm saying? But that's the whole purpose of it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a test
Just trying to figure out what's going on. So
what's going on? Ain't nothing wrong with that.
yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's why we do a test run for the day, and then tomorrow, we'll definitely be going live, man.
I can't wait,
What's up,
man.
man?
I'm just
What you been
excited.
on, man?
Hey, man, soul searching. You know, uh, I can honestly say I was on the backside of the mountain, bro. And I'm just taking my lessons, building up, getting myself together, preparing myself. I feel like this is the year of manifestation, new beginnings. I mean, so many people that I know and I hear of, they're just having these like new starts and these fresh starts and going through the things they've been through. And, I'm just excited, what I'm saying, to allow God to use me, man, and then allow this word to come forward, not to be all preachy and different things like that, but just to like, help my people, help my community. Just excited, bro.
Yeah, man. Same here. Um, I think like the one thing I like that I know is going to happen with us on this podcast is the fact that we're going to have genuine conversations.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
not scripted. It's raw emotion. Um, so I feel you. It's crazy that you say that because I didn't figure out who I was until 2014. As funny as it may sound, it took me all the way to 2014 for me to really realize who I am as a person, as a human being. Not even just as a man, but as a human being.
There
You know
you
what I'm
go.
saying?
There you go.
So I definitely feel you on that path, and I think a lot of people don't adhere to that calling when it's time for you to get on that path. A lot of us we run.
Hmm.
That's like myself. I ran from it for a lot for years. I was when I came to copping, I didn't know what land over land over land over land. I didn't know who I was.
Yeah,
I knew
man.
where I was from. That part I can always say. Like I
Hmm.
knew I was from Ghana, West Africa. I knew that. I knew what county, city I was from. So I knew all that. But if somebody was to ask me back then, who are you? I would have been like, I don't know. I would have just said, I'm him. This is who I am. But as far as like me knowing who I was truly, genuinely, I didn't know because I was really trying to fit in.
It's funny. Shout out to my man Keon. You know, uh, Keon, I tell you some stories about me. At Coppin, it's like I knew who I was. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't understand who I was. I didn't know how to get to who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I always kept trying to like fit in, what I'm saying, at Coppin, to the point where one night I was like, I feel like I was losing my mind. Keon to tell you, man, I was in Coppin one night, was in that dorm room. I felt like I was losing my mind, bro. And he was just sitting there, just so calm. And I called Keon Superman because if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have even made it that far through Coppin because he was like a rock for real, and he helped me get through some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But just to go through the things that I went through, I found out. I guess to a certain degree, I knew who I was even as I started going through some things in life. But the hardest part, um, he said he prepared a table for you in the presence of your enemies, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he never said he'd make you sit down there.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta. That's a desire, man. That's a decision you gotta make to sit down at the table. It's already prepared, but you gotta want to sit down at the table. And
Mm-hmm.
could you imagine sitting down at the table and looking at the faces of all your enemies, the type of strength, the type of confidence that you had to have in yourself, the type of confidence that you had to have, and who prepared that seat for you, and that was a struggle for me, bro. I
Mm-hmm.
had to sit down at that table. I had to look at the enemies in my eyes, man. So I had to accept who I was. It's
So
still a fight. It's still a fight, but
that is still a fight. But see, this is the type of conversation we're going to be having on this podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like just
yeah,
genuine conversation. Somebody that may be struggling with certain things. You know what I'm saying? Certain
absolutely,
topics. So
absolutely.
this is what you're going to be getting from us. So this is just a test run, and you can already tell that the test run is going to take off. So we got it. We got to cut it short because I feel like it's going to be too much information that we're going to be able to share tomorrow with the introduction.
Hmm.
Because I feel like it's some things that a lot of us struggle with, but we don't have some of us are not humble enough, especially men. We're not humble enough to ask another man, "Hey, you were struggling with this. How did you go? How did you get through it? What are some of the things that you did?" And one of the things before I don't want to get too deep into what we're going to be talking about tomorrow, but one of the things that I felt like I struggled with was coming to terms to who I am. When I figured out who I was, and and people that know me from school or from high school and stuff like that, they only knew me from being from the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Being in
Mm-hmm.
the neighborhood, claiming your certain neighborhoods or whatever. But it used to be always that one friend that saw some more in you. And she used to always say something to me, but when you're young, you're not really listening to all that. So I don't know, man, anybody trying to hear that. But as I got older and as I could continue to get older, not just physically, but mentally maturing, I started to look to figure out like, okay, she's been saying this for a long time. And here I am, repping my neighborhood and all of this stuff. And like, I could tell like some of the people that I was claiming and all that, they didn't care for me the same way I cared for them. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah,
So
oh
it
yeah.
took me,
Yeah,
it took me,
we
it
can
took me
name a
some
couple of
trials
them
and
people.
tribulations that I went through in order to really figure out who I was, and of course with some personal challenges that I had to go through. And this ain't nothing towards any of my friends from my neighborhood or anything like that. I'm just giving you the real conversation, the realness of
Mm-hmm.
me. And if anybody know, I try to keep it as 100% and genuine as possible. And I think once I got to that point in my life where now that I'm mature enough to understand certain things, I was looking for conversations like that you just gave. I was looking
Absolutely.
for those type of words because it was the same thing that I was struggling with. I didn't know how to ask, and I think that's the problem the men we have. We don't know how to ask for help. And we can go a whole different way with this conversation as far as like men asking for help. But when it comes to certain things, especially from the spiritual side, a lot of men don't know how to ask for help. And I think that's what really brings us men down because we don't know when to stop and say, you know what, I need help. And when I met my mentor, Terrell Ward, I was looking for opportunity, but the opportunity I was looking for genuine mentorship for me to look at somebody's life and try to not to imitate it, but try to see if the certain things that he's doing that is working for him, if I can apply it to myself and to see if it
Mm-hmm.
will work for me. You dig what I'm saying? And as
Absolutely.
I did that and I started humbling myself to certain people that I was around, I didn't care if he was older or younger. I felt like wisdom has no age.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
because wisdom has no age, I try to meet as many people as I can and listen to them as they speak to me. So that way, it's something positive. Is this something genuine, genuinely nice that I can take from it to apply to myself? Not just even to be a husband. Again, I'm not talking about a husband. I'm not talking about a father. I'm talking about it just being a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Dig what I'm saying? And when
Mm-hmm.
I started doing that and talking to people and having people talk to me, and I started listening, I said, "Oh, okay." He said he tried this and it didn't work. Okay, so he said to try the other thing. Let me try this other way. See if that worked for me. And that's when I started to know that gradually I started to see different changes within my life. And I know people that would see me now like, "That's the same dude. You trying to save what community? You doing protesters? What are you? You know what I'm saying?" So because it's a
Yeah.
cultural shock, because the old me that they knew me by is not the same person who I am right now. So it's a whole 360-degree turn. And a lot of my friends, man, I love your growth. I love your growth. You remember Stan from
Yeah. Yeah.
Coppin? He was like, yo, man, I be watching you, man. I just love your whole growth. And I'm like, bro, I appreciate that because at the end of the day, I was a part of the problem. Now I'm trying to be a part of the solution.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And it took for me to start talking to people and listening to conversations like that is what really made me start making that transition in my life to be able to become a better human being before anything.
I'm gonna drop this nugget and we can get up out of here, man, because we gotta save some of it for the
For the
pod.
mock.
Yeah. So what you describing is what I've learned is that your pain for change has to be greater than your pain to stay the same.
Mm,
That's the reason why a lot of people don't never get it, bro. They comfortable being in those situations and they comfortable. But I remember as a young kid, bro, that I can hear this voice. I couldn't identify it. I
mm,
couldn't recognize it. But it was like I knew I was going to be great. And I feel like there's a lot of people that feel greatness inside of them.
mm,
They just don't have nowhere to talk, nobody to talk to. They don't have nowhere to turn. They don't know how to pull it out of them. So
mm,
they just walk around with that. And I got to the point where it was bothering me so much. I felt like I was carrying a bazooka on my shoulder, bro.
mm.
I knew what I had was loaded. I knew what I had purpose. But you know, if you aim that thing at the wrong thing, you can cause destruction instead of bring forth life. So that's what you got to understand, bro. Your pain for change has to be greater than the pain to stay the same. That's how you get to that place, bro.
And with that note, man, that's the type of conversation you're going to be getting from this podcast. Genuine conversation. So this was just a quick test run. I mean, and it was about to take off, so we got to cut it short. Yeah. So we got some comments that I'm trying to pull up here.
3 people watching. Have them comment.
And if you are watching and if you are able to hear us and see us, please drop a comment. Drop a comment on, what just a little quick test runs that we're doing. Drop a comment. If you are watching, please share the live. If you know anybody that don't have a Facebook page that want to watch us on YouTube, it's right there at the bottom. Follow us on Final Notice Podcast on YouTube. If you want to follow us on our community page, follow us on the Facebook page as well. Final Notice Podcast on YouTube. I'm one of your hosts. My boy right here, Aaron, is another host. We're definitely going to be tuning in tomorrow. The show comes on at 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock tomorrow. It'll be our first intro to the podcast. As you already can tell, is something that if you want something that is going to help your soul, if you want something that's going to help you grow, this is what you want to tune in for, man. We're definitely going to have some great guests on there. We're going to have some pastors, doctors, physical trainers, nurses. We're going to have different people come on here. If you have businesses, if you have a business, if you are an independent business owner, whatever we can do to support that business, drop us a name. We will give you a shout out. If it is something that the community needs, we'll definitely give you a shout out on that so that way they can come and help your business grow too as well.